Good afternoon, everyone. Ken McCall, the Jazz Vinyl Lover here with a review of the two new Tone Poet releases on Blue Note. This is not one of them. This is the original 1980 LT pressing of Wayne Shorter's Etcetera. Originally recorded in 1966, not released until 1980. This entire series, the LT series, or the Rainbow series as some call them, are usually really cheap when you can find them. I looked on eBay and there are none at the present moment. There is one, a UK version of this record. I don't know what it sounds like. A lot of people would lament the sound on these. I think that's incorrect. There's the original label for the 1980 Etcetera on Blue Note, the Blue Note within the white, larger Blue Note. As in all things, your results depend on the gear you're playing it back with. The gear I used to review these two records this time out, I did it with headphones to be really particular. A pair of Mesa Audio 99 Classic headphones, my Kuzma Stabby Stogie turntable with a Hanna EL cartridge, a Schiit Ragnarok integrated amplifier, and a Luxman EQ500 phono stage. Right up front, I will say, hey, first of all, I get these records. Here is the Tone Poet version of Etcetera. These are both sent to me for free, but they ain't for free, trust me, from the Blue Note publicists who I've known for about 30 years. I get all their stuff via files, as do most writers. A few companies still send out CDs, mostly smaller jazz labels, but anything attached to a major like Blue Note is, they just send you files, which is usually fine if you're going to review something. But you can't do that when you're reviewing vinyl. But right up front, both of these releases, these new Tone Poet releases, the Chick Corea's Now He Sings, Now He Sobs, and the Wayne Shorter Etcetera, sound fantastic. I'm really impressed with the overall sound of these discs. I have the original disc of both of these records, this one which I already showed you, and 1968's Now He Sings, Now He Sobs. They did an immaculate job of reproducing the cover art. The only difference on Now He Sings, Now He Sobs is the label is more yellow, more orange than yellow. First up, let's talk about Etcetera. I made a video yesterday, but I pulled it because I was on the mistaken impression there was something digital involved, because there's so much more air on both of these releases. And if you're being really picky, there's a little bit of an edge in the treble, in the leading edge, in the transients. It's just there. I don't know what it is. But along with that, you get a bigger sound stage, a little more depth, but it's different on both discs. First up, the volumes seem to be exactly the same, the gain settings. The original pressing, to me, sounded a little bit warmer, a little bit woodier, but also more closed in. It's also slightly more dynamic. The Tone Poet reissue has more air, has more sparkle, has more shimmer up top. The dynamics aren't quite as strong. There isn't quite as much slam as the original. You figure 68, 65 to 2019, those tapes have been sitting there all these years. So even though they pull out more air and a wider soundstage, more depth, there's also a little bit of an edge. But then again, that you might get different results on your system, and I'm being extremely picky about that. Then we get to Etcetera. They did a beautiful job on the cover, which is laminated, with the Michael Kuskuna's liner notes from 2002, I guess, which was a CD reissue of this. But I know both of these were cut from the original tapes by Joe Harley, and then mastered by Kevin Gray at Coherent. Let me show you the original cover. They're exactly this. They did a beautiful job. This is matte. There's no laminate, but otherwise it's exactly the same. The reissue of this sounds even closer to the original. This is a really good recording. Solid State was a label in the 60s that I guess were happy to say, hey, we have solid state gear. Back when everybody was converting from tubes, thinking that was a good thing. But the sound is really good on this original. It's immediate. I think this is a little more immediate and tonal and a little bit darker than the reissue. And again, the reissue has more sparkle, more shimmer, but it lacks just a smidgen of low-end depth that this has. If you don't know this record, this is one of the great piano jazz trio records of all time. Chick Corea, Roy Haynes, and Miroslav Vitus. This is a magical record. And this began Chick Corea's use of a flat ride cymbal. I interviewed Marcus Gilmore, who was Roy Haynes' grandson, who now plays with Chick Corea, and he has to use a flat ride. Roy Haynes began that. That's part of what made Roy Haynes famous. He was already famous or popular. That's part of his signature sound, is that flat ride that he developed with Chick Corea. So Marcus told me that's what Chick always wants to hear now. And this is the first record I ever heard Roy Haynes on, followed by Out of the Afternoon, his solo record. And he's just amazing on this record. The three of them together, particularly Chick and Roy, they're just floating and bubbling and crossing ideas and bouncing off each other. It's totally kinetic and electric. And Miroslav sounds wonderful. He's, holds down the bottom while also playing great improvisations. So this is one of the great jazz trio records of all time. Should you buy this? Without a doubt. For 30, if you can find, I've seen this like 5 times, I guess, and I bought it. It used to be not that hard to come across. Now it is hard to find. But for $35, this is a great version. Beautiful sound, a more open sound stage. And the drums, on the original, the drums are more bottom up. As we're on this, the drums seem more top down. But that goes along with both releases having more illumination on treble and transients and more air. But this is much closer to the original than Etcetera was. And maybe that's a good thing regarding this. But both of these are fantastic releases. You can't go wrong. And I felt like they kept much truer to the original Blue Note sound or Solid State sound than the Music Matters pressings, which to me kind of take the modern musicians, take the old musicians and put them in a modern studio, and that's what it sounds like. They erased Rudy Van Gelder. These, to me, this was not recorded by Rudy Van Gelder, and there's no listing on the original where it was recorded. I imagine you could find it, produced by Sonny Lester. But on the Etcetera, you hear the musicians, you hear the musical notes bouncing off the cinder block and the beautiful arched ceiling of Rudy Van Gelder's studio in Englewood Cliffs. So all in all, 2 great releases. I'm really looking forward to the next 2 releases, which is Sam Rivers and Something Else. Many people have already received these 2 releases and have praised them, and I'm just adding my yes to the chorus. Thanks a lot. Ken McCall, the Jazz Vinyl Lover here. Have a great day.